Hello. No intro this time. It's just us.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey,
I don't know if there's anybody actually watching yet.
We are.
Man, we're watching. We're talking to ourselves.
We're having a good time.
So, today we're going to talk about 90s action movies. Last time we talked about 80s action movies. And this time, Ian was kind enough to join us.
I'm so sorry I wasn't able. Like, it's this kind of one thing after another. And I was like, I'm going to make it to this one for sure. So, yes. Thank you for having me. Really super appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Been looking forward to being on your program for a while. So
I know. And here you are. Thank you for joining. And it looks like Keith is here. So hello, Keith.
Hi, Keith. Keithy.
You didn't get the 30-minute warning, but you still got here on time. We haven't really started yet. Let's see. I didn't make any like top 10 list or anything. I just listed a bunch of 90s action movies. So I figured we could just go round table again and just like name a movie and just go where the conversation takes us. The less structure, the better for me. I don't like structure.
Me neither.
So with that in mind, let's keep saying hi to people. Tom is here. Hello,
Hi,
Tom. Nicole Baker is here. Hello, Nicole.
hey, Nicole.
Nicole, how you doing?
Hey,
Sean
John.
is here, of course.
Sean.
Glad to see you.
What's up, man?
And of course, my pal Zober is here.
Over.
Zoop. Que pasa, patron?
Now, Zopes, is it Zuper or Zoper? Like, I've always tried to figure that out. Because everybody says Zuper, but you're
Zuper.
spelled Zoper. It is Zuper?
I always say Superplex. It's kind of weird. Yeah, but you're right. It is Zoperplex.
My friend John is here. Hello.
Excellent.
You haven't missed anything.
No.
We just started.
You missed it all. We just got done. We're gonna go.
Yeah,
It's
we're
over.
done.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to you next time.
We're running a little late, folks.
Yeah, short string.
Okay, so I mean, other people will trickle in and we'll say hi as they come. But I'm just going to go ahead and get started and list the first thing on my list, which is Cliffhanger.
Ooh.
I really like Cliffhanger. John Lithgow is the bad guy, makes that movie so good. And I love Sylvester Stallone. I have nothing against Sylvester Stallone, and he's great in Cliffhanger. I see Thrash. Let's see what he has to say. What are you saying, Thrash?
I must confess, when I was younger, I loved Sylvester Stallone movies. But when I saw Rocky IV, and don't get me wrong, I was a kid of the Cold War. I mean,
Rocky
the
IV
idea
was great.
Rocky
What?
IV is great.
What?
You're outnumbered, Thrash.
Are we talking about the same Rocky IV? The one where he fights
Yes.
the Russian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a
Drago.
Rocky movie.
But it's not even a Cold War movie. I mean, I understand where he was going. He was trying to like recreate the whole magic of Max Schmeling versus the Brown Bomber. I get it. But the whole thing, it was just that ending is ludicrous. I mean, let's do a reverse for just a second. If the American was losing and the match was in America, can you picture a bunch of Americans getting up and screaming for the opposition? No, we're mean and spiteful, particularly our sports fans. They'd be ripping up chairs and throwing them into the ring. It wouldn't happen. And then he gives that ham-handed speech about better 2 men than 20 million. I'm like, what are you talking about? And again, I was a Reagan youth. I was like, I loved Rambo. That's a guilty pleasure. And Red Dawn and all the other Cold War propaganda films. But I tried
So
to
realistic.
I know, right? Again, so I loved all of those, but for some reason, Rocky IV just grinded my gears, and I could never take Stallone seriously after that, no matter how much I tried. Call me spiteful, call me a snob, but I'll get off the soapbox now. Sorry, guys. I know you guys all love Cliffhanger, but I'm sorry.
That is a totally valid argument. Like, the thing with Rocky is, I think with the original Rocky especially, it was always trying to go for gritty realism. And then here comes Rocky IV, and it's a straight propaganda movie. And don't get me wrong, I love Rocky IV. But if you try to compare it to the other Rockies, there is like a tonal wonkiness to it. And I can see your point. Because it's not even remotely realistic. It's not even trying.
Way to ruin it for me, man.
but I love it. It's still a great movie. I will watch it anytime.
It's one of those things that you watch and then like you don't really realize something until somebody else points it out. Like I used to really love. I loved Robin Hood with the Kevin Costner one, and then I had a friend of mine just ruin it for me to sit there. Oh, he doesn't talk. He talks sometimes, but and now I can't watch it without just being super critical of it. Anymore.
That is a tough one. I can see that.
That actually happens. That happened to me with, of all things, that happened with Casablanca. Someone once said, "Do you ever notice how convenient everything is in Casablanca?" And I watched it after the fact. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh! It's like everything is staged. It's like everyone just comes in at the right spot. They leave at the right spot." And I'm like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I still love it though.
I just like Dolph Lundgren, such a badass in it. You know what I mean?
Dolph Lundgren
like
is great.
he's such a towering terrifying character. And now we're way off the subject.
No, it's great. Dolph Lundgren. I'm sure we'll talk about Dolph Lundgren again.
Yeah.
But no, cliffhanger.
Was there kind of a resurgence of like climbing shows? Like there was that show with Chris O'Donnell. Remember?
I vaguely remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think there was like this climbing resurgence of. I think climbers are always climbers, but I think there was like this popularity in climbing, in cliff climbing or something like that during the 90s, that era. I kind of remember that. I remember that show, Cliffhanger, and I also remember it had Robin Turkey in it or something. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Turley or whatever. And it was a climbing show. But I mean, I loved it. You know, that was good. Hey, Daryl.
He's saying hi to all of us except you, Lance.
Oh, darn.
Other brother, how you doing?
Thanks, Daryl.
No, I was also thinking of Mission Impossible 2, that intro to Mission Impossible 2 where Tom Cruise is climbing freestyle on the mountain.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of that in the 90s now that I think about it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Thanks, Daryl. I have one.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, shoot.
Demolition Man.
That's another good one with Sly Stallone. Yeah. I love Demolition Man. I got into a lot of trouble when I did a video where I was listing like my favorite movies from every year. And when it got to 93, yeah, I said Demolition Man, and everybody like got on me for not saying Jurassic Park. But I love Demolition Man. It's great. Do I think it's better than Jurassic Park? No. But am I more likely to watch it? Yes.
And what was with the 3 seashells?
I don't know. And Taco Bell taking over the world, man.
I know. Yeah.
And Dennis Leary is going to lead the underground. Yeah.
And in other markets, it was Pizza Hut that was the one. And then
Pizza Hut, right.
Yeah, in foreign countries, it's Pizza Hut that takes over the world or something like that because they couldn't use Taco Bell for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
They never told us how they work.
Zopes brings up a really good point, and I think we're going to have to deal with it head on. A lot of 90s action movies are basically Die Hard on a something. And Cliffhanger's kind of like that. It's kind of Die Hard on a mountain. Not completely, but it's close. But there's going to be a lot of those. There's Under Siege, which is Die Hard on a boat. There's Speed, which is Die Hard on a bus. It just keeps going and going and going. There's a lot of that.
Under Siege 2, Die Hard on a train.
Die Hard on a train, right? Yep.
What do you mean Die Hard? Is that like a template? Is that you mean like the ordinary guy gets thrown into something?
I think it's just like an ordinary guy getting thrown into a situation with some kind of terrorist group, and he has to fight them by himself or with like one female love interest or something.
I gotcha. Well, there wasn't really too terrible of a female love interest in Die Hard itself. I mean. His wife.
No, in the original Die Hard, it was just
his wife.
Well,
who's in love with their wives?
No, it was his wife, but his wife was not like by him. In the adventure, she was being. She was
almost a damsel in distress, but like she was still like being able to I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like she was still like fighting with Hans instead of just being docile and help me, that kind of damsel in distress.
I gotcha.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gimp is here. Hello, Doss.
Hey, Scott, what's going on, man?
Doss Gimp.
And Danny Staten is here as well.
Greetings, Danny. Glad you could make it.
Let's see. Amanda Smart. Hello.
Hello, Amanda.
What's up, Amanda?
Starlog. How's it going?
Starlog. Love the handle.
Yes, very cool. Let's see. I do have Die Hard 3 on my list because it's a 90s action movie and it's one of my favorites.
I saw Die Hard 3 before I saw Die Hard 2.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, because I was so turned off by Die Hard 1 that I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I liked it better now that I'm older. Like I liked it better later, but I didn't care for it a whole lot. Let's just say that. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't care for it a whole lot. I thought a couple of the
That's my garage door.
Oh,
sorry.
Garage door. Oh, there's a plane flying over.
Airplane?
I literally, I'm on the path to the airport. I go, wow, that's really low.
Yeah.
My wife is apparently coming in from doing yard work, so yeah.
I've gotten some slack for not being a huge Die Hard fan. I found the character arc of the cop who's on his side, to be a little anticlimactic. I think it's kind of silly that they don't respond to the call. He has to throw a body off. Why didn't you just shoot the gun in the air? I mean, it's just there's just a couple things. And it's kind of weird how we all have the line in the sand of what we accept for reality and not reality.
Very true. I mean? Yes.
It's so weird that just but that just always kind of irked me. But also there was a couple of scenes in there that that were trying to be funny, and I didn't find them very funny. Like when the Asian guy kind of reaches under for the candy bar and stuff. I'm like, oh. Is that hilarious? I guess that's their attempt at humor. So I just, to me, it was one of those shows that's like, it wasn't all that good to me. Everybody was raving about it. So I didn't really see Die Hard 2 until after. And then Die Hard 3, I loved Die Hard 3. I thought that was fantastic. But then I went back and watched Die Hard 2 and, so that's what I have to say about that, I guess.
I think by the end of this, maybe we'll find out all four of us have at least one unpopular opinion about a movie.
It's looking that way. It's certainly looking that way. Do we even like action movies? No. Let's do rom-coms instead.
Yeah, for some reason we can't just quite get behind the unreal. I mean, I can handle him jumping off and swinging around and all stuff, but that him reaching for a candy bar, that's ridiculous.
That was my problem. That was my problem with I know, really. With Independence Day. It was the fact that the aliens came 90 billion light years for resources when they had enough resources to get here. That I had no problem with. The fact that their fighters were Apple compatible, that bothered me somehow. Like, how do they download the virus? There's no way. I mean, what do you just happen to have a translation software laying around, So that somehow suspended disbelief.
Not to mention interstellar travel, right? I'm kidding.
Well, they were generation ships. They just took a long time to get here.
I like Independence Day now, but when it first came out, I didn't like it. I was I thought it was too cheesy. I basically turned on it as soon as there's that shot of the dog just like jumping out of the tunnel and surviving as there's like a fireball behind him. That just seemed so ridiculous and so over the top to me that I just checked out. But now, as I'm older, I can look back at Independence Day and be like, yes, it is cheesy. That's why it's great.
It's a love letter to Golden Age science fiction, all the George Powell movies and that type of thing. I mean, that whole thing with the dog survives, even though millions and billions of people are dying. I mean, they did the same thing in The Blob.
Of course. Yeah.
The whole town dies, but the girl's obsessed with the puppy. And they even have to reference it later. Oh yeah, I saw him right down the road. He got away. Oh well, thank God the puppy lives. But yes, we care more about dogs than we do about people. Sadly, Well, dogs are nicer.
Well, okay, Thrash, you get to pick a movie now, even though like we're all over the place.
I know, really. Well, as I was actually off camera, Tug and I were discussing while we're waiting for these guys to show up, our love of 90s movies. And I remember I kind of went through a phase in the 90s, and I don't want to sound like a snob, but I kind of went through a phase in the 90s where I thought of myself as being kind of above the whole action genre. It was all a bunch of car chases and fistfights. But I had fallen in love, well, I'd always loved foreign cinema, and that kind of had a renaissance in the 90s. So my compromise was I fell in love with Hong Kong gangster cinema. And so the film I'm going to pick is, to open up with at least, is one of my favorite John Woo films, Bullet in the Head.
Oh,
Any takers?
that's what I would have picked, but okay. I was expecting something else.
Oh, there are plenty of others, but I'm going to go with Bullet in the Head. There's just something deliciously gritty about that film. I mean, you know, it starts. It's the gangster thing going wrong, and this actually was a thing. Chinese entrepreneurs would try to like sell contraband to the Vietnamese military. By the way, there's going to be spoilers in this review. These three guys need money, and they're from Hong Kong, so they go, well, we'll sneak into North Vietnam. We'll sell them a bunch of stuff that they can't get because of the blockade. Be heroes, come back with a boatload of money, everything will be fine. And what happens, they get captured by the Vietnamese who think they're North Vietnamese, who think they're spies, and things kind of go downhill from there. And there's just the right amount of action, drama. There's intrigue between the three of them. It becomes almost like a Treasure of the Sierra Madre situation. It's John Woo, where there's plenty of gratuitous violence and action, but not so much that it detracts from a really solid story. And that's a problem I kind of had with the American action films. They seem to be a little too action-packed. I mean, you still got to have a solid story, and sometimes they sort of tended to forget that. So, again, fell in love with the John Woo film, and going to open up with, pun intended, Bullet with the Head.
That's a good one. I would have picked Hard Boiled, but I guess that's the most popular one. Yeah,
that's a great one too.
I have nothing to say. I've not seen that movie, so I am totally. I could lie, say but I decided to tell the truth. I could say, "Come on, Bullet in the Head. Come on, man, get with it, dude."
Won't even dignify that with a response.
But I'm a dum-dum, so yeah.
Hey, Thrash.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Stallone remade that movie, Bullet to the Head, with Momoa.
Really?
That's
and the guy that played Kang in the Fast and Furious movies is in it too.
No kidding. I am not familiar with this. Has it come out recently?
Yeah.
About 2-3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago.
Not familiar with it. I will check that out. I will check that out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not too bad.
Thanks, Lance. Thank you. That one fell through the cracks.
Yeah.
Probably that whole COVID thing.
All this talk of Hong Kong action and Scott Adkins and my friend Martial Arts Film Freak isn't here.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah. Let's see. Who hasn't gone yet? Ian, you have to name a movie.
How about Gross? This is gonna be no surprise. How about Gross Point Blank? Does that count as an action movie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
action comedy.
I mean, it's a comedy, but it is an action comedy, and it kind of plays around with a lot of action tropes.
I love that movie, and I love that. I love the fight scene between him and Benny and the Jet. It's one of my favorite fight scenes in any movie of all time. And he stabs him in the hall with the pen and the throw it out. I thought that was great. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Of course, everybody knows I'm a huge John Cusack fan, but Gross Point Blank is it's a terrific film. I mean, it's just a terrific film in my opinion. I think it's got all the elements. He's an assassin and he's going to recover from this. He's going back to this high school. It's got a great soundtrack. Love the soundtrack. And yeah, there's a comedy edge to it. I guess you can say it's a comedy, but with a lot of action in it, but there's enough action in it to make it an action film for me. So I don't know if that's, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We can riff on it, or you can say what you want to say about it. But I mean, I got other choices too. So don't worry. I got plenty of action movies of the 90s that I love. But I got to start out with my guy, John Cusack.
Nothing wrong with that. Grosse Pointe Blank is a great movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it pretty vividly. So it's got to be good if I can remember it that well.
I must confess, every time you talk about it, I'm like, I've got to see this film again. I don't think I've seen it since it was in the theaters, and I'm like, I've got to see it again because I'm sure you seem to have much better command. A lot of the things you referenced to it, I don't recall. So I promise I will check it out again.
Yeah, you got to, along with listening to Brand New, which you've been promising you would do, and you haven't listened to them yet.
I searched Brand New and I found some like hippie punk band. Are they a hippie punk band?
I wouldn't classify them like that, but maybe.
Then I found the wrong band. I'll search
Hello, Ryan from Ireland.
Hello, Ryan. Ryan from Ireland. I can't do an Irish accent. I would try. Yes.
Okay, go for it. Hit me.
The one that's on the screen now. Face Off.
Face Off. It's a good one.
Ooh.
Nicolas Cage and John Travolta and John Woo, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love watching John Travolta be Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage be John Travolta. It is an overacting tour de force.
Yes. It's really good. I loved Face Off. We can skip past all the science-y impossibilities.
Oh, it is stupid. I love it.
But it is such a good movie. I just love it. And I do like how they kind of act like each other. You know, they try to each imitate each other, and they have to go back to their original characters and stuff like that. I think it's a great a display of both Nicolas Cage and John Travolta's acting abilities. And we forget that they're actually both pretty decent actors.
When they put their mind to it, they really can do a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good show. I think a little bit with the him adopting the son at the end from the basically this, but it's the son of this person who he hates. I think that's really kind of a cool kind of arc in that story.
And I like that they start to like lose their identity a little bit. Like they start to get like, especially John Travolta's character in Nick Cage starts to really like lose his mind a little bit. I love that. I just think there's an interesting psychological aspect to it. And the idea of Nicolas Cage being this like awful human being, this like really, really bad dude. I don't know. There's something about it that I really like. Like it's a side of Nick Cage you don't see very often, or at least you didn't back then.
One of the things I liked most about it was apparently the two of them spent days with each other, not only picking up each other's characteristics so they can impersonate each other, they studied each other's impersonation of themselves. So Nick Cage, when he's acting like Nick Cage, he's acting like John Travolta's impersonation of Nick Cage, and vice versa, which I thought was really, really cool. Oh, and one of the things I just want to throw in, as far as the science goes, apparently originally when the screenplay was written, it was more of a sci-fi than an action. Of course, the 90s is when sci-fi movies really became action movies with a sci-fi backdrop. And when they offered it to John Woo, he said, you know what? I'm sorry, this works much better as an action film. I'm going to downplay the science, which, as you guys said, is stupid. I'm going to downplay the science and make it just a true, like, sort of action suspense movie. And they go for it. And I thought it worked great. So you know what, Lance? Great pick. Great pick.
Could you imagine if they did it today, but what they did, instead of like each actor playing, they kept the actor playing their own part and they just reimposed the face on
CG'd
there.
over the face, yeah.
Because that's really what it would have been like for real. That's what, because it's just the face. The body didn't change. It's just the face off. So you just swap the faces.
Hey, Doug,
that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Doug, I got one. How about a female one with Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano?
That'd be fun. I'd watch that.
Oh, is this? Oh, okay. I thought,
like as a remake.
A remake with the females instead of males.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, that would be very cool.
I'd see that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Tom. Although I'm pretty sure Gina Carano is persona non grata in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
For reasons.
She's too normal.
Oh,
Broken Arrow. I like the line, don't fire on the nuclear warheads.
Please don't aim at the nuclear weapons. Please.
There you go.
Yes.
That's it.
Christian Slater.
The rope-a-dope.
Christian Slater, back when he was really awesome.
The rope-a-dope.
Yeah. The rope-a-dope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the boxing ring, rope-a-dope, where he like this. Bam.
Yeah.
Every time.
And that line in it too, the other line where it's just like, I'm not sure that I'm upset that this is happening, or it's happened so much that they have a name for it. You know?
Right. Yeah. That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
This is actually a thing. You know?
That girl, that lead girl, I think Christian Slater and her were, hey Tracy. Hey.
Oh Tracy, how you doing?
I think Christian Slater and that girl were both in Pump Up the Volume too, weren't they? Wasn't that the same girl who was in Pump Up the Volume?
I think you're right.
Marissa Tomei?
Marissa
Tomei.
Marissa
Tomei.
No, Pump Up the Volume with Marissa Tomei. No, wait, no. Oh,
no.
You're right.
It is not Marissa Tomei.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different movie.
I know who it is.
Apologies.
The Eat Me, Beat Me lady. What's her name?
Samantha Mathis.
Samantha Mathis. That's it. Yeah.
Samantha.
How about that?
She was on Lost.
Oh,
she is on Lost.
She's Ben's mom. Is Samantha Mathis.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
She's also in
yeah.
But I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it this afternoon with my son, actually.
That's not the girl in Broken Arrow, though.
Yeah, it is.
I don't. Is it? I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. It's been way too long since I've seen Broken Arrow.
I'm still trying to figure out what Marissa Tomei was Christian Slater with. You know, I'm stuck on that now.
Untamed Heart.
Untamed Heart, where he had the buffalo heart or whatever. Yeah.
Thank you. That was driving me nuts.
Wished upon a planet. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Tracy.
It is Samantha Mathis. I just checked IMDb. It really is Samantha Mathis.
In Broken Arrow?
The first three: John Travolta, Christian Slater, and Samantha Mathis.
The computer lighting.
Was Samantha Mathis in Pump Up the Volume then?
Yeah, she's the Eat Me, Beat Me lady.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Oh, now you get here, martial arts film freak. We've been talking. We talked a lot about Hong Kong action movies.
Well,
especially John Woo. Yeah, not nearly as much as you would. And I think somebody even brought up Scott Adkins earlier in the chat.
No, give out Universal Soldier.
Universal Soldier. Is that the one that's like sort of a sequel to Blade Runner? Or no, that's not Universal Soldier. That's just Soldier with Kurt Russell. Yeah, Universal Soldier is the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay. All right. No, I got to interrupt. Okay, Samantha Mathis. Is that?
Are we still on this?
Wait. That's not the girl who plays John Locke's mom, though.
What volume?
That's not the girl who plays John Locke's mom.
Not John Locke's mom. No. Ben's mom.
Oh, Ben's. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was all right. I'm over
it's
it.
It's okay.
I'm well over it now. Stick a fork in me. I'm done.
Play me off. Oh, did we lose Lance?
Okay, this
you
is
okay, man?
Kind of funny.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Baking. What are you
what
baking?
What are you
Tracy?
baking? And then beans.
Oh, beans.
Okay.
It's just funny. I just had to highlight that. Oh, she's actually making chocolate chip cookies. That's way better.
Baked beans. Ew.
No thanks, I'm good.
Is chocolate gone up that much that you have to substitute baked beans instead of chocolate?
I love chocolate chips.
Chocolate
Who
chip.
doesn't?
Yes.
Okay, Drunken Master 2 should have been on my list. That's one of my favorite Jackie Chan movies of all time,
Yes.
if not my favorite. But of course, Crime Story, Super Cop. Oh man,
Once upon a time in China.
The Rumble
Good
in the Bronx.
movies. Rumble in the Bronx is good. Yeah. That's
Rumble in the
that was
Bronx
his
is
first
yeah.
real
First-
breakthrough
first
in America.
strike.
Like he'd done
Yeah.
movies in America, but that was the one where I think he really broke out.
Yeah.
First Strike.
I loved Rumble in the Bronx. I thought it was fantastic.
The fight that I love that fight at the end of it. Oh my goodness. He uses everything in that scene. Shopping cart, refrigerator, everything.
Now that I think about it, I think Rumble in the Bronx might have been my introduction to Jackie Chan. I don't think I'd seen him before that. I mean,
How about
Yeah.
Cannonball Run?
I was just gonna
Cannonball
say-
Run.
oh,
was
right. I
Cannonball
totally
Run.
forgot he was in Cannonball Run. Right.
I was
You're
just
right.
gonna
You're
say
right.
that.
I'm wrong.
And the Protector with Daniello.
Really?
I didn't see that when I was a kid, but yeah.
It's pretty good. It even has Big John Studd in it.
No kidding. The wrestler.
Okay, Hard Rain. I haven't seen it since
The Hard
like the
Rain.
90s, but I remember it. I remember liking it. Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman. It had something to do with like hydrogen energy or something. I don't
It was
remember. And
It was
like,
a
truck
heist
full of
in
money.
a flood. Yeah. It was
Right, there
called
was
a
a
heist,
big flood.
and there was a doing a heist. Morgan Freeman and Randy Quaid and a bunch of other people.
I just remember liking it, but I don't really remember all the details.
Yeah, I don't remember the detail. I don't think I saw it.
I don't recall this one. I just don't.
I thought Hard Rain was the one with Kurt. Not yeah. Was it? No, no. Well, never mind.
The pieces were all there. We just can't seem to put them all together.
Well, there was a movie called Black Rain with Michael Douglas.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the one I'm thinking of.
Set in Japan, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but-
right.
Yeah. Yes. I do recall that one. Someone I
I'm
know
trying
was
to think
actually
of
in
the
that.
name.
Is that the one with the motorcycle gang, or is that
Yes.
Rising Sun? I get those two confused.
Oh yeah, I get them confused too.
Rising Sun.
That's a good one. Yeah, I love Rising Sun.
Snice and Sean Connery.
Right.
And Tia Carrere. Oh, yes.
Tia. Love Tia Carrere. Had a crush on her as a kid.
True Lies. How about True Lies?
Yeah, True
How
Lies
can
is
you
on
not?
my list.
So it's
Absolutely.
Can't mention the 90s action without mentioning True Lies for sure.
Surprised it's taken us this long to get to Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I really enjoyed True Lies. I mean, True Lies was cool. I like the whole idea of his secret life and all that stuff. And his wife thinks he's this boring dude. And then the Bill Paxton character where he's pretending to be a spy. And suddenly
Wait,
things
where he
kinda open up
pees
for
his
him.
pants. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
I like that was one of the first movies I'd seen where like there's a whole sequence that happens in somebody's imagination where he's like beats him against the steering wheel and then you cut back and it's not that didn't actually happen.
Yeah, it didn't
I
happen.
love that.
Right.
I like the scene about the Harrier jet on the building. That was fun scene to watch.
You'll fire.
That was, yeah. Yeah, you're fired. And Tia Carrera? Was it
Tia Carrera again.
Yeah.
You can't get enough Tia Carrera.
She was in Tokyo, that one, the one with Brandon Lee and
Showdown in Tokyo.
yeah. Brandon,
I've never
one of
seen it,
Brandon
but yeah,
Lee's.
I'm familiar with it.
And the guy from Mortal Kombat, the bad guy.
And
in there.
Dolph Lundgren was in it. Yeah. Like,
See, I
Didn't
told you
she
we were
have-
talking about Dolph Lundgren again.
Didn't she have her very own, like, very, very, very short-lived action TV show?
The Relic.
In the 90s.
The
Thank
Relic.
you. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I knew there was another. She had a show. It lasted.
It's on
very
Tubi TV
few-
right now, so if you want to watch it, go ahead. It's on Tubi TV right now. So
Thank you.
oh, wow.
Good to know. I haven't seen it in 30 years, or something like that. Time means nothing to me anymore.
Tracy, you can send me cookies if you want to send them to me.
hey, how about Hard Target?
Hard target.
Is that a
Van
what's his
Damme.
name? Van Damme
Van
again? Yeah.
Damme was in that movie. About where they would hunt people.
When I think of Van Damme in the 90s, I think of like Time Cop and the one that takes place in a hockey stadium during a hockey game with the
Sudden
Penguins.
Death.
Sudden Death. Yeah.
Oh.
Powers Booth is the bad guy. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah. Remember,
I
he
don't
said, "Whatever happens, do not leave these seats." Remember that scene? You do not.
I do remember
leave
that
these
scene. All right.
Like, all the chaos, and the kid's still standing in the seat, thinking, "Well, he's listening to his dad."
Okay, Chain Reaction was the one with the hydrogen thing that I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, him and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
How about the
That was
Mummy?
Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves. Right. The Mummy.
Oh yeah, Chain Reaction. No, that was a good show.
That's the
I
one.
like that
Yeah,
movie.
I was confusing it with
Yeah.
Hard Rain. Yeah.
Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves. That was a good one. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves and Rachel Weisz were in that one. They were also in Constantine together.
They what?
Yes, Constantine.
Well, Keanu Reeves and Rachel Weisz were in Chain Reaction. They were also in that one we
Constantine.
Constantine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he
Oh,
fights the
Constantine.
devil. Yeah,
Yep.
he fights the devil.
I love Constantine. And I always bring that up as a movie, like when people say you have to adapt something faithfully. Constantine is about as least faithful as you can get, and yet it's still a great movie.
It's so there's a book. What you're saying?
It's a comic book, actually.
Oh, it's a
Constantine's a
comic
comic
book.
book character.
DC.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that.
He's a
I-
blonde Irishman. So Keanu Reeves.
Oh, okay, about you.
Yeah. Yeah, Constantine was also in Legends of Tomorrow, the TV series.
Yeah, and he had his own show for a while, which wasn't bad. But like the movie Constantine's its own thing. It's great.
I love the line where the demons are about to attack, and of course she pulls out a gun, and he goes, "That really won't help." I thought that was a great line.
I had a feeling Martial Arts Film Freak would have something to say when we mentioned Van Damme.
Hard target.
What about okay, so what about everybody's favorite martial artist, Steven Seagal, if we're gonna talk 90s?
Oh,
I love him
art?
in Executive
No.
Decision. That's like his best role.
Yeah, we got killed off.
Yes,
I don't
he
think
dies
I
like
could
5 minutes
disagree
in.
with you on that. Yeah. I actually went to go see Executive Decision because he was in it.
Really?
Because back then I was a fan. I really was a fan of it because
No, that's
Aikido
fair.
was
Like
kind
you
of-
can like Steven Seagal. It's fine.
well, Aikido was kind of exotic and new, and you didn't really know anything about it, and it was 90s, and so the internet wasn't everywhere, and you didn't know, what a piece of crap he was as a human being back then, and so, it was cool. It was cool to see like Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill was still one of my favorite action shows.
I remember
and
really
so we were
liking
all-
Hard to Kill.
Hard to Kill and Marked for Death. Marked for Death, Hard to Kill, and then what was the other one where his Italian friend kind of goes crazy and starts killing everybody? And
Oh, that sounds familiar.
that was a scary show. I forgot the name of it, but then I loved all of those. I mean, I wouldn't recommend as a martial artist, I wouldn't recommend anybody do Aikido ever. Unless you want to get your butt kicked, don't do it. But back then you didn't know. We didn't have UFC yet. We didn't know what would work, what wouldn't work. It was this
Right.
real exotic kind of martial art, and he was bringing this to the movies, which you hadn't seen. Everything before that was either ninjas or kung fu, And so to see Aikido, it was really cool. And then so I actually went to see Executive Decision because he was billed in there, and then he dies, and I was like, dang it.
Okay,
What happened to
who would
Lance?
win in a fight? Oh dear,
Who would?
you're right. Well, maybe he'll come back.
He said he'll be right back. He was just
Oh, he
having
did?
some
Okay.
issues.
Missed
Yeah.
that. Who would win in a fight? And Ian,
Oh, I forgot to add him back. That's my fault.
Sorry.
there we go.
All right.
I have no idea how long you were sitting there, Lance. Sorry.
Good, Lance. I'm throwing this out to you.
Only
as
a
well.
minute. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay.
Who would win in a fight? Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal at their
Chuck
prime?
Norris.
At their
Chuck
prime.
Norris.
Norris.
Today.
Chuck.
That's not
Chuck
even a.
Norris.
That's not a
You know, Mr.
question.
Chuck, hello.
I was hoping for a lively debate, but I agree with you.
Ask
all,
a
so
question that'll start one.
Okay,
Was Chuck
Godzilla
Norris
or King Kong?
King Kong.
I'm a Godzilla man, personally.
Godzilla. Sorry.
I
Godzilla.
don't know. It could go
It
either
first
way for
flammable.
me.
But not that Godzilla in '98. Oh,
Are they
thank you.
doing?
I'm good.
Are they doing street
No, that's not
rules? Are
Godzilla.
they
That's just an
doing
iguana.
Are they
Iguana.
doing street rules or cage fighting rules?
Um,
No, just kidding.
Either. Both.
You can't cage either one of them.
I know.
Hey guys, how about Blade? Blade.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the original Blade. That's right. That was in the 90s. I always
Speaking
think
of
it as
vampires,
2000. Yeah.
which we
Yeah,
were an
speaking
hour
of
ago.
vampires and toying with the vampire template. I guess
Although
as
thinking
long as
about it
you're-
in my head, like, yeah, Blade is one of the most 90s movies I can think of. Just because
Mm.
that opening scene with the rave and the blood rave, that's
Yeah.
very 90s. And of course, Wesley
Tricky
Snipes.
Lords.
Wesley Snipes was the 90s. Let's face it.
Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes is a
Passenger
phenomenal
57.
martial artist.
Always
We
been on
already mentioned
black.
Demolition Man.
57.
Always bet on black, yeah.
XV7. Yeah.
And he was the bad guy in that Demolition Man we were talking about
Demolition
earlier.
Man, right? Yeah, with the blonde hair.
No. I'm going to love ruling this place.
Hey, Thrash.
Yes, sir.
Simon Phoenix. Simon Phoenix. Simon Phoenix was his name in the movie.
Oh,
Demolition
okay.
Simon
Thank you.
Phoenix.
Simon
And
Phoenix. Oh, I'm sorry. Simon Phoenix. Thank
Simon
you.
Phoenix, right.
I completely forgotten that. Yeah. I
It
don't know
was
that
Kurt
guy.
Russell.
And don't forget about
To answer
Sandra
John's
Bullock being in the movie. Sandra Bullock was in that movie.
Who was?
Yes.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah, she's
Oh,
in Demolition
yes.
Man. She's also
Yes,
in
she was.
Speed, which we haven't brought up yet.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
mentioned
she
it
al-
earlier.
And unfortunately, she was also in Speed 2.
Oh God,
True.
no!
On the boat, yeah.
Woe in the boat with that smile.
Yeah. Speed 2 was the best action film ever. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
We're all
It was
friends here.
But
Well, that
no, I
derailed the
remember
conversation.
before Executive Decision came out, I remember like all the ads for it were really like hyping up that Steven Seagal was going to be a big part of it. Even
Yeah.
the trailers, like they showed as much of Steven Seagal as they possibly could from that like 5 minutes that he's in the
Minutes.
movie. So like the fact that he dies early on was a real big fake out, and I'm surprised a lot of people weren't madder. Honestly,
I was plenty mad. I was plenty mad. Me and my friends were all plenty mad.
yeah,
They did
because
that
it's
with-
like
with-
it's not advertised as a Kurt Russell movie, but it's really a Kurt Russell movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
They
Hey,
did that
what
with-
about?
with- oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Thrash.
sure. They did that with Drew Barrymore and Scream, and I remember being
Scream, right.
mentally disappointed. They made it sound like it was a Drew Barrymore movie, and all the trailers, like it was all her. And I had a huge crush on her at the time, and I went to see it, and she dies in the first 15 seconds, and I'm like, oh, I am ever so pissed. Now, while we're on the subject, though, would you guys consider Scream as an action movie? I know it's a horror movie, but there's plenty of action in it.
Whether or not a slasher movie can be considered an action movie, that's really like that's a big gray area. I'm not sure.
How about Deep Rising? Deep Rising.
Deep
Thrash,
Rising.
you need to set out the next round, okay? Freezing.
Well, I just gotta
Okay.
say goodbye to Martial Arts Film Freak. If he's still here, bye.
All right. See ya. Fist of Legend is great too. Fist of
is.
Legend was a good one.
Yeah, he could.
I'm pretty sure you mean Chuck, not Chunk from the Goonies. Do the truffle shovel.
Double shuffle. You win.
What about Point Break?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna have a long conversation about Keanu Reeves in the 90s because he went from
Yeah.
Point Break to The Matrix all within one decade.
I'm astonished we haven't mentioned The Matrix until now. I'm really astonished. Yeah.
It's barely a 90s movie because it's like 1999.
But
But
still, well, so's Fight Club, and Fight Club is probably my favorite action movie from the 90s.
Fight Club's
If-
great, yeah.
I mean, just the because I'm always saying about how action films tend to be a little thin on the plot. That one is all plot with a lot of action intertwined, and the twist ending. And I'm not even going to say it because there might be 5 people in the play who still haven't seen it. But that twist ending, to this day, I mean, I can count on one hand the number of times I've been.
What's going on?
Was
Hello?
Point Break?
Yeah,
Was
hi.
Point
Break was
Point Break-
92, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was 90s for sure. I'm wrong. Point
You and me
Break.
are going to have words, Sean.
Uh-oh.
Not a what?
One of my favorite movies from the 90s that not enough people talk about is directed by Catherine Bigelow, and that is Strange Days. It's a great movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Strange
think
Days
of that
is a good movie. I haven't seen that in a long time. Do you ever
And
watch Pitch Meeting?
Oh yeah, all the time. I love Pitch Meeting. And
Oh,
Ryan
yeah,
George.
Pitch Meeting.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Barely an inconvenience.
Have you ever seen his Pitch Meeting on Point Break?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's
I have
hilarious.
to check into it. Yeah. He's got so many of them, man.
Yes.
That is a hilarious one on Point Break. He's like he just so happens to get right into the right one, and anyway.
Ryan George.
All right.
Yeah, Ryan George. He's got his own channel too, where he does similar skits, which are also funny. He's very good at absurd humor. Okay, I'm going to name another foreign movie, but one you probably all seen, and that is Leon the Professional. Jean Reno, Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman. Gary
Oldman, of course. You don't like Beethoven. Yeah. Man, that is
Natalie Portman was young in that movie. Very young.
Yeah, extremely young. She was like
that's why one of her first roles, probably.
I think so. Yeah. Matilda.
Was that before Mars Attacks? I thought Mars Attacks was her first.
No, it was definitely before Mars Attacks. She was a little bit older than Mars Attacks. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I like that movie quite a bit. It was sad though. It was a little bit sad.
It is. It's a little bittersweet, but like I don't know.
How about Desperado?
I haven't seen it since the 90s, but it is a very quintessential 90s movie. Robert Rodriguez got his start.
Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo, of course. Well, I mean, he did. Was El Mariachi first and then Desperado?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It was like a remake of that.
Right.
About the guns in the guitar case.
Yeah, the gun in the guitar case. Very iconic.
Bye,
Nicole.
Bye,
Nicole.
See you,
Nicole.
Okay. Anybody else? Come on. Speak up.
Well, one of my favorites, but I don't know if you get Pulp Fiction. Absolutely adored Pulp Fiction. But I don't know. That's more of a gangster film than an actual action film. Although I think there's plenty of action in it, so I can plead a case.
I think I'd call it an action movie. I think that's fair.
Good.
What about a femme fatale kind of movie? Point of No Return.
La Femme Nikita. Point of No Return is a remake of La Femme Nikita. It's by the same director who did Leon.
Luc Besson.
Thank you. I was trying to remember his name.
Bridget Fonda was in that movie. Bridget Fonda.
Bridget Fonda. Yeah, that's one of her best, honestly.
And Harvey Keitel plays the cleaner at the end.
Yeah.
And they did a series on Nikita with Maggie Q.
Yep, they did not too long ago. I never saw it, but I know that it was there.
Now, one of my favorite, and I really, really super enjoy feminine kick-ass movies. And one of my all-time favorite, and I don't know what year it came out. I think it was 90s, was The Long Kiss Goodnight. Was that 90s?
Ooh, yeah, that was definitely the 90s.
Good movie, right?
Gina Davis, right?
Yeah.
And Samuel Jackson. Yeah. She doesn't remember anything. Oh, that's a good movie. That's a really good one.
She's all chopping
vegetables.
She throws that tomato in the air and pierces it. Like chefs do that, don't they? That is one of my favorite movies right there. I like movies like that too. There's been a few since then that have kind of followed the lead female character.
It was written by what's his name? The guy who every single movie he does is a Christmas movie. He was in the original Predator. What's his name?
Shane Black.
Shane Black, thank you. Yeah, that was a Shane Black movie, Long Kiss Goodnight. So yeah, of course it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Oh, The Long Kiss Goodnight is kind of a Christmas movie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Home Alone.
Yes.
Ian,
everybody say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi, Tug's mom.
Hi, Tug's mom.
Hi, Tug's mom.
How about True Romance? Speaking of Christmas later, True Romance.
Oh, yeah, True Romance. Boy, that's a tough
one of my
man.
favorite Brad Pitt roles where he's just the stoner on the couch.
Yeah, that's a fairly early role for him too. But yeah, bring back some cleaning products.
Yeah, right. That was another good Christian Slater action movie. Christian Slater did a lot of good stuff in the 90s. Yeah.
How about 3,000 Miles of Graceland?
I never saw it.
I
With
never
Kurt
saw
Russell,
that either.
Kevin Costner, Brittany Cox, Dave Arquette.
That movie is only infamous because I went to when Netflix was still doing the physical media, which they're going to stop in a couple months. That, believe it or not, they still do it.
I didn't know they still did it. Really?
I had
Okay.
rented the whatever Miles to Graceland, and I lost it. That's like the one Netflix movie I had to pay for because I never found it.
Oh wow!
Bummer.
So I still haven't seen it.
Bummer.
It'll-
You loved it.
It'll turn up.
I'm sure it will someday, and then I'll see it.
Yeah.
And you own it.
You'll-
Because you have bought it.
Okay,
How
let's see.
about, How
Go ahead.
about Billy Blanks in the 90s? Billy Blanks,
Oh, Billy Blanks. I don't remember. I
the
remember
Tybo guy.
from,
The Tybo.
Yeah.
Tybo. I remember. From
I can't remember
Tybo.
his movies. I remember his
No, he's-
tapes. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, he's done some movies. I used to love
Okay.
Tybo. I used to work out to Tybo quite a
He
bit.
did. He did two with Piper.
Roddy
Stuff and
Piper,
Deadly
really?
and Back in Action.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Take your word for it.
Yeah.
You're out of my
Not
depth
familiar
now.
with the work. Yeah. So,
What about The Crow?
Oh yeah, Brandon Lee. Oh my
I
god.
love The Crow.
Brandon Lee.
So good.
I'm knocking at my chamber door.
So sad. Yeah. Yeah, but that's that part bugged me because that was the Raven and he's a crow. It's just like
Tomato. It was clever. We quibble over terms. It's a
Anybody
black
heard
person
of,
sitting in the dead of night. Black
Yeah.
Anybody heard of the Laser Mission with Brandon Lee?
what?
Laser Mission with Brandon
Laser
Lee
Mission.
Yes.
and Ernest
Yeah.
Borgnine.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that.
I think I own it,
It
but I don't know if I've seen it.
It wasn't my favorite movie, but I have seen it. When Brandon Lee kind of became popular, he had done some B-grade movies that kind of resurged after The Crow, and then after he died, of course, on The Crow. So, and there's a myth that you could actually see him die in The Crow, but you don't ever see it.
No, that's just a myth.
That's one of those myths. But the guy who actually shot him is really like he was devastated for years and years.
No,
Yeah,
he would not
I
be.
can't remember the actor's name. He's
What?
the guy with the really
Yeah.
deep voice. He's in a lot of 90s movies. He's in Strange Days.
Oh, yeah.
He's the bad guy in The Crow.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't him?
Was that,
I thought it was
no, it wasn't.
Michael
it was the
Wincott.
guy when
That's the
when he's shooting heroin in the room with his girlfriend.
Oh,
And
that guy.
he shoots his hand. He shoots
Right, yeah.
Brandon Lee's hand, and then he goes, and then it grows back. That's the guy. I'm pretty sure, anyway, as I recall.
I mean,
that's
you
the
might
guy
be
who
right. I
shot
don't know. Getting a lot of echo.
How about Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee and
That's
Paris
the other
Booth?
Brandon Lee movie, yeah.
Which
And
one?
Powers Booth.
Rapid
Rapid
Fire.
Fire. Yeah.
Oh, Rapid Fire was great martial arts movie. I really enjoyed that one too.
But
really
while I've got
enjoyed
Ian
Brandon.
here and we're talking about The Crow, we got to talk about
Yes.
the soundtrack, man.
Oh gosh,
Mortal Kombat.
The
soundtrack.
Cure,
The
The
Cure,
Cure, Nine Inch
Stone Temple
Nails,
Pilots, Nine Inch Nails,
STP, Jesus and Mary Chain. All my favorite bands are on there. That was such an iconic soundtrack. It was so
that is
good.
one of the best movie soundtracks ever, in my opinion.
Yeah. I love Jesus and Mary Chain too. They were one of those bands that never really get enough recognition. And the song that they played on there was great.
Oh God, not that movie. Free Jack. Oh no. Oh boy.
I thought Free Jack was a comedy.
Hey guys, in Free Jack, Rene Russo, Ezzy Hawkins started it, right?
I don't remember. It's been way too long
And
since I've seen
also-
Free Jack.
You also run Thor together as mom and dad to Thor.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Anthony Hopkins is Odin
And
and
Rene
Rene
Russo,
Russo's
yeah.
Frigga.
Odin.
Right.
Huh. Interesting.
Cool. But there's this lively thing going on in the chat where they're talking about whether gangster movies count as action movies, and yes, and how come you guys aren't talking about Heat?
Oh, I want to talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about Heat. Man, that scene between like Pacino and De Niro, like in the coffee, that they had to write into the movie because it wasn't actually in the original script.
Wow.
That's so good. It's iconic. And Val Kilmer, Val Kilmer, like standing on top of the car with the assault rifle and the mask. Oh, it's so good. That was Michael Mann at his best.
That was who?
Michael Mann. He's the guy who directed it.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was
I thought you said Michael Landon.
No,
so that's Michael Landon.
That'd be a very different movie.
Whoa, all right.
How about One Dead or Alive with Rutger Hauer?
Oh yeah, Rutger Hauer. I barely remember that movie.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons, he's a bad guy in the movie.
Wasn't that 80s? I thought that was late 80s. Or do I have my dates wrong? I mean, I remember it, but I thought, well, but yes, I do recall it. And how about Miller's Crossing? Since we're talking gangster movies, that's a true gangster movie. Miller's Crossing. Any takers?
Yeah,
I've seen it. Honestly,
I haven't seen it.
No worries. It's
Untouchables.
Great film.
But Zopes does make a good point. Heat is more of a heist movie than a gangster film. He's not wrong.
Untouchables.
Okay.
Oh yeah, The Untouchables. Was that 90s? Yeah. That's,
Sean Connery, Kevin Costner.
Sean Connery, Kevin Costner. Yeah. And De Niro as Capone.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Baseball.
De Niro stole the movie. I thought he was the best.
Absolutely, he's great. Yeah.
And guys, I'm going to bring up one. How about Street Fighter?
Oh, not great. Not great.
Not a good movie, but a fun one. Yeah.
I like.
Wasn't that Raul Julia's last movie?
Yep.
It was, and he was not. He didn't have a problem with it. He was very unapologetic about it. He did it for his kids
because he died 2 months after that movie was over with, so he didn't get to see the premiere. So.
Oh.
And of all the actors in that movie, he's the one who's having the most fun. He's really enjoying it. You can tell.
Honest to God, I think Raul Julia enjoyed doing Slock. He made some fantastic films and made some great performances.
Hey guys, remember this line? When I say enter your world, you fawned over him. For me, it was only Tuesday.
It's just Tuesday. Yeah.
It's Tuesday.
But Raul Julia did a PBS film called Overdrawn at the Brain Bank, Overdrawn at the Memory Bank. It's terrible. It's based on an Ursula Le Guin novel, and it's dreadful. And he goes through half the movie doing this comical Humphrey Bogart accent. It's actually worse than mine. But he looks like he's having so much fun while he's doing it. It's worth it just for that. Just to see him playing it makes it worth it. So
didn't Mystery Science Theater do do that one?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's actually funnier when you don't watch their hijinks. Just watching it on its own is hysterical. Because are they being serious? Is this serious? Because I don't like knocking a film for poor production value, but this it looked like it was done by a 13-year-old boy with an old VHS video camera.
It's pretty bad.
It's really bad. But it's so much fun to watch.
But that what was the name of the film we just talked about with Raul Julia in it? What's
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter caused one of my friends to not want to see Mortal Kombat because we went to see Street Fighter, and then I'm like, oh, you got to see. And then later, when Mortal Kombat came out, not that long afterwards, I was telling him about Mortal Kombat, and he's like, "It better not be like Street Fighter, man. It better not be." I'm like, "No, it's way better. It's
Mortal Kombat,
a good movie. It's all, So, but it caused my friend to have some hesitation to go see it, thinking that he was going to get into some real cheesy show. So,
they say that's why The Postman bombed, because everyone went, ugh, another Kevin Costner post-apocalyptic film? No, thank you. Because everybody remembered Waterworld.
Yeah, Waterworld, yeah.
Yeah, which was, well, Waterworld is Waterworld. But honestly, I honestly think The Postman's a better film. Not a fantastic post-apocalyptic film, but a much better film. But it bombed in the box office just because people were like, no.
No thanks. Another 3-hour post-apocalyptic movie with Kevin Costner in it. No, I actually liked The Postman. I thought The Postman was great. I liked it. I didn't care for Waterworld a whole lot.
Hey guys, how about Tombstone?
Oh, Tombstone's one of my favorite movies, man. I love
It's
Tombstone.
one of the best movies
Good cast.
ever.
Yeah.
Man, you got everybody. You got everybody in the movie in that movie.
Again, Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Powers Booth,
Sam Elliott,
Michael Biehn, of course.
Michael Biehn, Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, right, Billy Bob Thornton.
Are you just him and bleed? Or
Yeah.
you just?
I'm Your Huckleberry. I love that movie. That's a good one.
I'd have.
Do you know?
I think that movie's.
Means?
No, what does Huckleberry mean?
It means a pallbearer.
Yeah, I'm your Huckleberry.
It's slang for a pallbearer. So
it makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
I think that film is Kevin Costner's. Not bite my tongue. Not Kevin Costner. Val Kilmer. I think it's Val Kilmer's best performance.
Oh, I think it's Val Kilmer's best movie too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's having fun.
Yeah, he does. Even though he's dying.
Did you see Wyatt Earp? The movie Wyatt Earp?
I did. But in respect of my friend Scott, I'm not going to talk about it because he's in the chat.
Oh, does he not like it or what?
He loves it. He thinks it's like the greatest movie ever. He thinks it's better than Tombstone. I don't agree.
I don't think it's better than Tombstone, but it was a really decent movie. I mean, I actually enjoyed the movie, and
it's not bad.
You know, but no, Tombstone that's like a movie of movies right there, man.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, you want to go obscure? How about Johnny Mnemonic?
Oh yeah,
another great Dolph Lundgren performance as the like preacher assassin guy. Oh wow,
Dina Meyer, Ice-T.
Yeah, that movie is basically like a dry run for The Matrix with Keanu Reeves.
Right? Yes, yeah. I really enjoyed that movie actually. With what's his name in it? The Henry Rollins was in it. You know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten that. Yes.
He was like the tech guy.
Yeah.
Okay, my mom brings up a lot of good movies that are on my list that we haven't talked about.
Oh, Harrison Ford.
There's a lot of Harrison Ford on this list.
Good movie right there, Double Jeopardy. I love that movie. I can stand in the middle of Times Square and shoot you, and you can't touch me.
Well, that's the one thing about the movie you have to suspend disbelief. She may have been wrongly convicted of the past crime, but that doesn't forgive her a future crime. You were convicted of something before. If we're trying you for a new attack, it's a different crime. There's actually a movie about that where a guy gets out of prison for killing somebody. He didn't actually murder the guy. The guy faked his own death. And this guy spent 20 years in prison. He gets out, sees the guy who he supposedly murdered, and kills him. And he brings it up in court. He goes, "I've already served my time. You served your time for a previous infraction. This is a whole new kettle of fish." So, I mean, I love the movie, but I kept thinking to myself, no, if she kills him, it's a new crime. It's not Double Jeopardy. But what do I know?
But she kills him for killing him, though. It's not. I mean, I know that the crime never happened, but it's not a new crime. She served her time for killing her husband, for killing that man.
But it was a different murder.
Still a different murder, yeah.
Not to mention,
it wasn't a murder at all, but it was there because the first one she didn't murder him. But
besides, how many crimes does she commit while she's trying to get to him? She steals a car. There's hit and runs. If you watch the number of crimes that happen from the time she goes on her spree for revenge and actually gets to him, she's looking at about 20 years just for all these other little crimes.
Right.
I loved Air Force One. I love that movie.
Get off my plane.
Air Force One was a great movie. Gary Oldman's fantastic.
Harrison Ford. And Wayne Macy was in that.
Oh yeah, yep.
Andrew Divoff, you remember him? He was in.
I love Andrew Divoff.
The Wishmaster.
Another Lost alum. Andrew Divoff is the guy, Apache, the guy with the bat. I can't remember the character's name, but the guy with the eye patch.
Robert
doesn't
Davi.
die.
I love Robert Davi. He's my favorite bad guy. License to Kill. Remember that?
License to Kill. Yeah, we talked about that in the last one. Yeah.
Full circle.
Which brings up another good point. We didn't talk about GoldenEye yet. That's a 90s movie.
No,
GoldenEye.
we haven't talked about Bond at all, actually.
I know. But if we're talking about Bond in the 90s, you got to talk about GoldenEye. It's one of his best.
And on the top.
Xenia on the top. Yeah.
Where she kills you with her legs. Her legs. She kills you with her legs.
I don't know James Bond in the 90s.
Hey guys, you want to know a little bit of trivia?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Sean Bean and Duncan Johnson were in GoldenEye, right?
That's correct.
They're also in a movie called Don't Say a Word with Michael Douglas.
Really?
And Freddie Murphy. Remember that movie? Don't Say a Word?
Vaguely, yeah.
The bad guys are trying to get the number out of her head.
Yeah. Yep, I have seen it.
Oh! Yes, I do remember that.
So, yep.
I do remember that movie now. Wow, that's been a while.
But speaking of Sean Bean and this list, we got Patriot Games, where Sean Bean's the bad guy in Patriot Games. That was really good. And of course, Clear and Present Danger might be one of... I mean, my favorite Jack Ryan movie is still Hunt for Red October, but Clear and Present Danger is a very close second.
Yeah.
Well, Hunt for October, just for the cast alone, I mean, everyone is in that movie. It's like, oh my God, there's not Riff Raff. There's Frankenfurter. And oh my God, there's the guy from Rally Ace of Spies. And oh my God, that's,
Right. Yeah. Sam Neill before he was really famous in the States.
Sam Neill, yeah.
Is it Tom? That's Tom Clancy, right?
That's Tom Clancy, right.
Yeah, Tom Clancy was visited by the FBI for that film because they were wondering how he knew things about what they were trying to work on for submarines, where he got his information from. They thought he had some kind of insider source that was leaking information to him because he was so accurate about some of their stealth stuff or something like that. So, but it just turned out he just thought of it. He thought, well, this would be cool to be able to do this. And he just thought of it himself, which I guess isn't that far from, reality, being able to think about something. If somebody else can think about it and actually do it for the government, then somebody else could just think about it and do it for a film.
Yeah. Because I just watched a good documentary about Brittany Murphy the other day. It's on Tubi TV.
I saw one documentary. I don't know if it's the same one, but I've seen a documentary about Brittany Murphy it was harrowing, but it was good. But going back to Tom Clancy, I did meet him actually. I met Tom Clancy.
You met Tom Clancy, really? That's awesome.
Yeah. No kidding. I wasn't very impressed, but I met him. It's cool to meet somebody like that.
Why were you impressed? What was he?
Jerk? He just came across as an arrogant jerk. I mean, I may have just caught him
an arrogant jerk.
I know. I may have just caught him on a bad day, but then I've listened to audio commentary where he's talking, and he still sounds like an arrogant jerk.
Okay.
I've heard that.
I don't like to say that about people because I do like Tom Clancy's work. I like his books, and I respect him for what he did, but he was kind of a jerk.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The author I met that I do like though is Anne Rice. She was really nice.
Oh yeah. My stepdaughter met Anne Rice as well. Yeah, at a book signing and said that she was really nice too. Yeah.
She liked my Depeche Mode T-shirt.
How about Panic Room?
Panic
Room. That's a good one.
Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart, Yoakum, Jared Leto.
Yeah, Kristen Stewart is the girl.
Who is the girl?
Kristen Stewart.
Oh.
Kristen Stewart, Jodie Foster, Forrest Whitaker, Yoakum, Jared Leto.
Right.
They're all in there.
It's Jared
and
Leto.
That's a David Fincher movie. Yeah, Jared Leto.
Yeah. He played the crazy one.
He's the 30 Seconds from Mars guy, right?
Same guy, yeah.
Okay.
That movie is good.
I just thought of something. Baked Beans should do a podcast with Anne Rice.
Beans and rice.
And beans.
Baked Beans and Rice. Baked Beans and Rice.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No excuse.
You forgot dessert, Sarah Lee.
Nobody doesn't like Oh, Pentagram was 2002.
Darn. Sorry.
Close enough.
It's really 90s. Hey guys, how about Deep Rising? Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Treat Williams, Kevin J. O'Connor, Becca Jensen again.
Right. That was in that same time period as like
it's
Deep
about
Star
pirates
6
that go-
and
it's about
Leviathan.
It's about a crew of pirates that go to this lovely cruise ship and rob it, but when they get on board, everybody's dead.
I
And
vaguely remember it. I remember it ends where they're like on a jet ski getting away from an explosion or something.
yeah,
Well, there's jet skis and explosions, you know.
yeah, it's a good one. It's awesome.
I got one for you guys.
Sure.
Okay.
Assassins.
With Antonio
Stallone
Banderas and
and
Sylvester
Dennis and
Stallone.
Julianne Moore.
Yes. Wasn't that a good one? Didn't you like that one?
That is a good one. I love it. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Assassin.
you haven't seen it. It's really good. It's really good.
How about the specialist? The
Hang on.
specialist.
Special.
Stallone, Sharon Stone.
Oh
King
yeah,
Louis,
Sharon Stone. Yes, I
Eric
remember that
Roberts.
one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Specialist.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I still have some of the old comic books. Still have a
There
bunch
you
of them.
go.
I gave some of them to my nephew. My nephew has like discovered vintage comic books, so I when I bought them, they were new, but to him, they're ancient. Wow, this is from the early '80s. Wow.
I remember when I was a kid and somebody showed me a Daredevil comic and I started reading it. And I'm like, they totally ripped this off from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's the other way around.
What?
How about
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of taken off of Daredevil. Like Daredevil's backstory is basically exactly the same as the Ninja Turtles backstory. And in Daredevil, they're going after the hand, and in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he's going after the foot. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that.
Okay. All right. The only thing
Guys,
with Daredevil that I know is the movie.
with Ben
That's all I
Affleck,
really
that
know.
one.
Yeah, the Ben Affleck, terrible Ben Affleck movie.
how about Armageddon?
J-Lo. Armageddon. Was that the 90s? Yeah, it was probably the 90s. Feels like a 90s movie.
And Deep Impact. It's like the same thing almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know they came out like the same year. That might
Like
be
Twister.
2000.
simultaneous
I like-
inventions.
I like
Yeah.
I like Deep Impact better, quite honestly. No, which one? The one with Elijah Wood. What's the one with Elijah?
Yeah,
Wood?
that's Deep
Deep
Impact.
Impact.
Yeah, I like that one a little bit better than the other one. So
Deep Impact was actually like 3 different projects all smushed together to compete with Armageddon, because Steven Spielberg was working on an adaptation of Arthur C. Clarke's The Hammer of God, which is about an asteroid that's going to hit the Earth. And he'd been
Okay.
working on it for like a decade. And then Michael Bay says, you know, we're just going to make this Armageddon movie about an asteroid hitting the Earth. And Spielberg's busy doing other things. And he's like, we got to make a movie. So let's like throw this script in there with like 2 other scripts that people were working on. And that's how Deep Impact became a movie.
Which made it sort of a George Pal thing where you had like different
Lots of different stuff going on at once.
going on the same timeline. Yeah, so it kind of worked, but I didn't know that was the elixir that brought it all together. That's a great story.
Yeah, in fact, when they were advertising for Deep Impact, they wanted to put Arthur C. Clarke's name on it, but he wouldn't let him because it's so far removed from his book.
Hey guys, how about? Oh, go ahead.
Wasn't that Lee Sobieski's first film?
Probably. Like,
You know what she
I don't
looks
know for
like?
a fact.
Very young Helen Hunt.
Yeah.
If those two play together, mother-daughter.
I can see that. I can actually, now you mentioned, I can see that.
Hey
Yes,
guys, how about
yes.
Duffy's Peak and Volcano?
Yeah, another case of simultaneous invention. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Dante's Peak and Volcano. Yeah,
I like both of
they
them,
have-
but
they have kind
I
of
think Dante's
movies
Peak
that
is
come
a
out.
little better.
Yeah, was Dante's Peak? Was that the one with Pierce?
And Linda Hamilton. Linda
Yeah,
Hamilton.
Helen
and
Hunt
Pierce
and
Brosnan.
Yeah,
And Volcano was with Tommy Lee Jones.
Linda Hamilton.
Yeah,
And,
Tommy Lee
Volcano,
Jones was it?
Tommy Lee Jones and Anne Heche.
The late Hannah.
Yeah, I didn't those two.
That one was
movies were not
silly
my
because that
favorite.
was like the La Brea tar pits were a volcano.
Yeah. Not too much.
But
not two of my
Dante's Peak
favorite
was a little
films.
bit more realistic, at least.
Yeah,
But
I
it was
love
still
that
like
movie.
they're still like
Yeah.
standing right next to a volcano and not burning to death.
I love the part where the little girl's about to jump in the water and he goes, "No, come here, no."
Right. And then the
But-
grandma like jumps in the water and is like
Yeah,
dissolving from the acid while she's like trying to
Sulfur
like get him to
in the
shore.
water.
Sulfur. Yeah,
Boiling
yeah.
the water. I went, whoa. I hate the part where Grandma got out and started just taking the boat to shore, and she was getting burned by the legs. The grandma.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I'm not sure what you're right about, but you're right about something, Lance.
Oh, don't let it get around.
Maybe it was Sarah Lee.
Or Mrs. Fields.
Or Mrs. Fields. Is it true about those two?
Sarah Lee and Mrs. Fields.
Sean Ennis confirms that it was a 90s movie. I mean, it feels like a 90s movie.
How about Con Air?
Yeah, Con Air.
Oh, yeah.
Nicolas Cage and Michael Bay.
Everyone.
John
John Cusack
Malkovich
was in that. Wasn't John Cusack in that?
Yeah, he's on the ground. Yeah.
Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah.
Hey, Stuart,
and Con Air.
I remember that scene in the plane.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I almost got
The Rock.
The Rock. Oh yeah.
Oh,
The
right.
movie, not the
That's
actor.
actually on my list. Yeah.
Like,
Michael Biehn. Hello.
Yeah.
That was a good cast that movie.
Ed Harris again. Yeah. And of
Tony
course, Sean
Todd,
Connery.
David Morris, John C.
At the
McGinley.
end there, you want to know who really shot JFK? And they cut away at the end. All these government secrets they found. That was great.
Do your best.
Okay,
it's like a place you do your best.
What about Enemy of the State?
Oh yeah. Was that Will Smith?
That's Will Smith and Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
It's kind of a spiritual sequel to The Conversation.
John Boyd.
A spiritual sequel to The Conversation.
And Jack Black's in that movie.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the movie The Conversation with Gene Hackman, where he plays a spy?
No.
Basically, like take his character from Enemy of the State. It's basically that same character, like when he was still working for the government.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
cool.
Did you see a movie?
Did you see A Narrow Margin by any chance? Was that
name
90s?
sounds familiar?
That was I don't know if that's I don't know if it was late 80s or 90s. It might be 1990, but that was that's Gene Hackman, and that was actually a really good
Anne Hayes
action film.
Anne Archer, I mean, Anne Archer.
Anne Archer, yeah.
Yeah, and what else?
Yeah, on the train. Yeah. I do remember that movie. I just had to look it up, but yeah.
Right.
Get out of here, Scott.
Oh, come on. Well, then you might as well put Shazam in there.
Is it Shazam or Kazam? I don't remember.
We might as well start talking about the Mandela effect.
Yeah, exactly. Mandela effect.
They're talking about Shazam and Shaq and that film. People have different memories of those films.
Hey, how about The Last Action Hero?
Oh yeah, that was a movie that was overshadowed by Jurassic Park, unfortunately. But it was such a great movie. But it came out, I think, like a week after Jurassic Park, and so it did terrible box office. It bombed.
Hey guys,
so people
were
still going to Jurassic Park and not going to.
How about
while we're on the subject? I know Jurassic Park is technically science fiction, but would you consider action adjacent?
Yeah.
And sure. Action adjacent. I'll go with that.
Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster.
Good point.
Yeah, but when the Pirates of the Caribbean break down, they don't eat the tourists. What about Saving Private Ryan?
Can't watch it.
That was 2000.
Can't watch it. Can't watch it.
You can't watch it.
Yeah, I can't watch Schindler's List either because that's just man, hello. That's a heavy subject, right?
Too much. I've seen it twice because I saw it once and I was devastated by it, and my wife was like, "Well, we should watch it," and I watched it the second time. Kept me up all night. Was that 2000?
I believe it was 2000. I believe.
No.
Thanks, baby.
No, Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, 99. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. 98 rather. I'm sorry. I could have sworn it was 2000. But
No.
I might be thinking I don't. Well, I confuse things. But thank you for pointing.
I wouldn't consider it an action movie. And I'm
No.
I'm pretty sure I've already said on this channel my Saving Private Ryan story that I had to watch it in the middle of a hurricane in Florida with my grandfather who was in World War II.
Oh yeah.
That was intense at full volume because he was deaf.
Oh jeez.
Hey, Tug, you're in a hurricane. That's your action movie right there. You're in a hurricane.
Pretty much. That was the year of the hurricane. There were, I think, 4 different hurricanes hit Florida that year. That was the last year I lived there.
I'm going to start a company called Saving Private Tug. Saving Private Tug.
But I'm not averse to calling war movies action movies. It's just Saving Private Ryan's kind of its own thing. Like, it's so.
I see what you're saying.
Right. It is kind of weird because, like, is are war movies? I guess wouldn't they be by definition action movies, or
I think so.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, but Saving Private Ryan's more of a quest movie. You know.
Well, the
more,
one movie I can't watch is Glory, because the night my dad went to see that, next morning my mom passed away. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow.
That's awful.
That's a bummer.
And the same thing with the Transformers. That came out in 2007, and my dad passed in 2007. So.
Oh, yikes.
Well, Glory is better than Transformers. So.
Good catch.
But my wife would be very mad at me if I didn't mention The Fifth Element.
Oh yes, The Fifth Element.
Speaking of Luc Besson,
movie.
Right, Luc Besson again.
How great is that movie?
Mila Jovovich, Michael, Chris Tucker,
Yeah, Chris Tucker,
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, of course, Bruce Willis, and then
Byron James.
Who's the girl? Who's the main girl?
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, Mila Jovovich. Yeah.
In that outfit
married
she wore, oh my
Paul
goodness.
W. Anderson.
Yeah, that outfit she wore, the straps.
The straps, yeah.
And the bright hair she had on. I went, whoa. Orange?
Saffron.
Yeah, Saffron.
I'm just wild about Saffron. Saffron's wild about me.
How about Event Horizon? Is that 90s?
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. There's probably, speaking of Paul Anderson.
That movie's, oh no, boy. Oh.
I love that movie. But knowing the behind the scenes stuff and how much is actually missing from the movie that we have really makes me angry. Makes it hard for me to watch it. It's missing like half the movie.
About?
Like half the movie was cut out and they lost the footage because the studio was interfering.
Oh,
and you can tell when you watch it. Once you know that and you watch the movie, you're like, yeah, I can see there's a lot of stuff missing here.
There's a movie kind of like Event Horizon, but they find a ball and they found out, or something like that.
Sphere.
Sphere.
Based on a Michael Crichton novel.
Oh, good catch.
Okay.
Jackson.
Sharon Stone and Dustin Hoffman. Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. Hey, look, how about Deep Blue Sea? Is that
Event Horizon was like a scary movie.
Oh,
I wouldn't call Event Horizon an action movie.
That was like a horror movie in space. I can't watch horror movies.
Yeah, Sam Neill went crazy in that movie. He went nuts.
He clawed his face, man, like ripped his eyes out and stuff.
Lawrence Fishburne's in that movie, of course.
Sorry, I'm looking at the comments.
Me too.
Oh, right, Baked Bean. You're right. It was in a salt mine. The footage from Event Horizon. That's what. Yeah, weirdly enough, a lot of movies are stored in salt mines, like old film, because there's just something about salt mines that preserves them really well.
Is it dry?
Exactly. The salt absorbs the humidity, so the humidity stays at a constant rate, literally indefinitely. Something about it relates to the temperature too. It keeps the temperature constant.
They find a lot of old manuscripts in Egypt because of the same reason. There's a place called Oxyrhynchus, and it was a dump, and they still, like, every year they find like about 4 5 very, very old manuscripts that are like super important manuscripts because it just the sands of Egypt are just great for preserving papyri that's thousands of years old. So
yeah, that's what you do when you have a cell phone and get it wet. You put it in rice.
You put it in a salt mine.
Yeah, but a salt mine, that would work too. A lot of the treasure that the Germans stole during the war, they hid in salt mines.
I know Chris Nolan found some lost footage from 2001 in a salt mine, but we'll never release it because Stanley Kubrick wanted it destroyed.
Hey, if you hit somebody, hey guys, if you hit somebody in the mine, is that a salt mine?
Yes.
Yeah, you get the shaft.
Anyway, we're getting close to an hour and a half here, so
all right,
we're gonna start wrapping it up. Let's just like rapid fire list movies that we haven't listed yet, if we have any.
I think Lance has been rapid firing from the beginning.
He has the whole time. He came really prepared.
Can I propose a question? I thought this last time, I didn't have a chance to say it, but I have a question. If you guys could take any literary work which has not been made into an action film as yet, and you had the opportunity to do it as an action film, what literary work would you pick?
As an action film? That's tough.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Look at my books for a second.
Can I give mine first? I'll give mine first while you guys think. Is that fair?
Sure, please.
Yeah.
The Epic of Gilgamesh. I was just reading
Gilgamesh.
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Going real old school.
Well, it's the oldest surviving literature in Western civilization, and I can think of no adaptations of it. And although people love to reference it, but when I was reading it the other day, it was actually some time ago. But last time I was reading, I go, this whole thing is like a buddy action movie, with Gilgamesh and Enkidu.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could do this where they meet up in the palace and literally just tear the place up because that's what two tough guys do. And then when they beat the snot out of each other, they go, oh, man, that was fun. Let's all go. Let the two of us team up and go out and beat up other things. And that's your movie. And I think it could actually work.
I have an answer. My answer is Neuromancer.
Ooh, Neuromancer.
Neuromancer would be a great action movie. But every time they've tried to adapt William Gibson to big screen, it's failed miserably. Johnny Mnemonic notwithstanding, of course.
Yeah. I'll text you my address, Tracy.
How about Virtuosity with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe?
Oh, Virtuosity. Right. Yeah. That was a good one where he had like the nanobots coming out of his arm and stuff. Cool. That was actually my introduction to Russell Crowe. I think that was maybe his first American movie.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what literature I would do. I'm not terribly a book person, so especially when it comes to storybooks. So I couldn't really do it. Maybe I think maybe one that would be really good would be the Maccabees, like how they took back Jerusalem from the Romans.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be like a historical thing,
I love action docudramas. I gobble those up. Those period pieces, love it.
Yeah, be a Mel Gibson movie.
like we were soldiers.
I can't believe we haven't talked about all the 90s Mel Gibson movies, the historical. Can you even call them historical? I love them, but they're not accurate even remotely.
Patriot?
Like The Patriot, where he stabs the British guy with the American flag. How can you not love that?
Yeah, that was a great one.
And it's also a sad one too. Yeah,
well, with Mel Gibson movies, especially in the 80s and 90s, he just had something about his family always dying. Like Mad Max, Lethal Weapon, The Patriot, Braveheart.
We haven't even mentioned Lethal Weapon movies, but I guess are those more cop movies. I guess cop
movies
more
80s. There were Lethal Weapon movies in the 90s. I think Lethal Weapon 3 was in the 90s,
And 4.
Wasn't.
And 4.
Yeah, 4 was. Did you like 4 or no?
I haven't seen it in a really long time. I remember not being impressed with it and being really annoyed by
Oh,
Chris
man.
Rock.
Jet
But I
Li.
love the climax with Jet Li. It's really good.
Jet Li was so good. That was my first introduction to Jet Li, and I was just so impressed with Jet Li.
But you're right about Mel Gibson. He seems to have this thing about his family dying.
It's so weird.
Like it gives him character or something. I don't know, but I never noticed it until just this moment. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. I've ruined all Mel Gibson movies for you.
Oh, that ship has sailed. The
Mel
man's
Gibson did that himself.
kooky as a nutcake. I just can't with him anymore. Nutcase. Sorry. I'll get off the soapbox now. That's twice I've gone rogue today. I gotta stop drinking too
How
much
about
coffee.
Thelma and Louise?
Thelma and Louise, was that in the 90s? Yeah, I guess it was because it was the early Brad Pitt again. Yeah.
Yeah. That
I
was
don't know if that's an action movie.
There was substantial. There were fight scenes and shootouts and and car chases. I mean, what could be more actiony?
I guess.
You
Okay,
don't sound
I'm about to end
enthusiastic
this.
there. Oh yes.
All right.
All
right.
But I will say right here at the end that there is a movie that we didn't bring up that would have gotten me in trouble because I don't like it and everybody loves it, and that's Terminator 2. But we'll talk about that some other time.
I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about Terminator.
It's a whole long spiel. It'll take me way too long. We gotta go.
All right. Okay. All right.
Super.
We'll have to do the same theme. Yes.
Are you on tomorrow night or no?
I think so. I'm not
I know.
sure.
I was gonna
know.
ask, plug away.
No,
And
yeah, I mean Monday nights Monday night live stream. So
I'll be there too.
Please.
And don't forget this. Day's on today if you're a member. Day's doing a
Yeah, I
stream
think he's
today.
on pretty soon, actually. Yeah.
In an hour.
At 20 minutes, yeah.
And Thrash will see you tonight.
You sure will. I'm on tonight actually at 7:30. That's Thrash time. That's East Coast time. 7:30. I'll be doing a general nostalgia live chat. There'll be a trivia game, Q&A, that type of thing. And of course, you hosts can reach me. Oh, you took my handle down as soon as I went to point to it.
Sorry.
That's quite all right. Everybody knows me as Thrashpondo Pons. There you go. So if you haven't, I can't point in reverse. But anyway, please join my channel, like, subscribe, and all those nice things.
Me too. Did you see how much my channel jumped the last week?
I'm so impressed.
Yeah, we jumped like 100 subscribers, so that was really cool.
I lost a subscriber. I don't know what happened to me. So come on, I'm trying so hard. Come on, guys.
Right.
And that reminds me, I was thinking of you last night, Ian, because I had cereal for dinner.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did.
All right. Yeah, right on.
Well, hey, Doug, what was it?
Honey Nut Cheerios.
I had
That's the bomb right there.
Yeah, it is,
Honey Nut
man.
Cheerios.
Apple Jacks.
Can't say anything bad about Honey Nut Cheerios.
Apple Jacks are good too.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Thrash. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. I'm
Okay,
sure
bye.
I will have you all on again soon.
Take care. Take care, guys.
Yeah. And thank you all for in the comment, all the people in the chat. Too many of you to name, but thank you for being. And catch you next time.
All right.
See you real soon. Tonight, hopefully. Take care. Bye-bye.